There's actually very little resistance from once 30 has been clearly established as a new floor. There's not really there are a few stops along the way, to be fair, but I think that technically and going back to 1980, the first time it reached that level, there really is little to no resistance between here and $50. Silver's technical setup and run ultimately to 50 is going to be one of the biggest technical breakouts of history for any asset class, just because it has been so incredibly long that silver was at the nominal $50 level back in 1980.
PeterKrauth from the Gold Advisor highlights that silver has tested the $30 mark 3 times in recent years, each establishing a higher level of support. This long-term technical setup suggests a potential significant breakout, with the next major resistance around $50. The recent boom in silver prices is partly attributed to China's overproduction of solar panels, with Western nations accusing Beijing of utilizing unfair trade practices to achieve this. Silver is trading at $30 per ounce, a substantial increase from around $20 per ounce 4 years ago, when demand was considerably lower. Krauth notes a pullback in silver prices might occur, potentially testing below $30. Initial targets for a pullback could be $28, and in a more significant washout, $26. However, he believes $30 will soon become a new floor for silver prices, indicating strong resilience and support around this level. On Friday, silver remained volatile as the market tried to build up enough pressure to break even higher. At this point, the $30 level acts as a floor in the market. Hawkish remarks from Federal Reserve officials have raised concerns about potential rate hikes, which negatively impact non-yielding assets like silver. Krauth maintains a positive long-term outlook for silver, despite the potential for short-term pullbacks and consolidations. Once the $50 mark is surpassed, the market could see substantial upward movement as it enters new high ground with no established resistance. Historically, silver has outperformed gold during gold bull markets. This trend has proved true during the current gold rally in the U.S. Since its low in February, silver has surged over 41%, while gold has increased by about 22% in the same period. Join us as we delve into PeterKrauth's insights. To stay updated with our latest uploads, subscribe to our channel and activate notifications. Thank you.
I will say that I would not be surprised as we work our way through the summer that we could, and I'm not saying this has to happen. I'm saying we could see some kind of a pullback, sort of a reckoning, a digesting of these gains. Because silver's up about 45% since the late February lows. That's just tremendous. It's up about 35% since the year started. That's about almost triple what gold is up. That's fast and furious. I think we could see some kind of a digesting phase, consolidation, where silver will perhaps test somewhere below 30. My first target would be 28. If we really got a washout, perhaps 26. But I think that 30 is before long going to start to become a new floor. I've been pretty impressed with how resilient silver has been over the $30 mark. And, retesting 32 in the last few days again. You don't feel like you're exposed enough to silver and you see it somewhere below 30, I'd say it makes good sense to probably start at least nibbling at it and increasing a position or starting a new position if someone doesn't have any exposure, and build on that. As I say, it's kind of like the mining stocks, buy in tranches at least and mitigate your risk, do what's called dollar cost averaging. But this is a bargain, there's no question. And if you look at, as I say, the pricing in China, for example, up to $4 more per ounce, people in the West certainly have access to a bargain right now, whether silver is above 30 or not. There's actually very little resistance from once 30 has been clearly established as a new floor. There's not really there are a few stops along the way, to be fair, but I think that you look at technically and going back to 1980, the first time it reached that level, there really is little to no resistance between here and $50. I would absolutely expect, like you said, that we're going to see that tested a few times before actually finally breaking through, like we did 30. In the last 4 years, silver tested 33 times before just breaking out now. So the first time was in August of 2020, right after the pandemic hit, and silver went from, say, $12 to $30, about 140% return in 5 months. And the silver squeeze, which was the end of January in 2021, it also ran up to about $29 or so. So the third time was just in the last month or so when it tested 30 and then just sailed through it. This was, I think, right around a couple of weeks ago in the middle of May. Really looking quite strong right now. And there's some great work by a friend and colleague, Jordan Roy Byrne, who does some fantastic technical analysis. And he's basically said that this is one of the, silver's technical setup and run ultimately to 50 is going to be one of the biggest technical breakouts of history for any asset class, just because it has been so incredibly long that silver was at the nominal $50 level back in 1980. First, not that much resistance on the way to 50, and then after that, uncharted waters. I mean, there's no real clear technical upside after that. We've never been truly above 50 for any kind of sustained time. So it's going to be really exciting times. Looking forward to getting there and beyond.
PeterKrauth emphasizes the strategic importance of entering the silver market and maintaining a long-term perspective, particularly given the strong demand from major markets like China and India. Global demand for silver has surged in recent years, driven largely by increased production of solar panels. China, which produces more solar panels than the rest of the world combined, has significantly contributed to this rise in demand. As a result, silver prices have increased by 35% this year, reaching a 12-year high. According to a Reuters report, the rising demand from the solar panel industry and investor optimism that silver will outperform gold this year fuel a silver buying spree in India. Notably, India imported more silver in the first 4 months of 2024 than last year. Krauth notes that while silver prices may pull back to $28 or even $26, these lower levels may not be reached. Silver prices continued to lose ground for the third consecutive day, trading around $31.10 per troy ounce during the European session on Friday. Let's get back to the interview.
If you look at what's been happening with with spot silver prices in China in particular, they're trading at $3 to $4 per ounce above what they're trading at in the US, for example. So it tells you that where the demand is for true physical silver, taking delivery of physical silver, because the Shanghai Exchange is a physical futures market. You have to have an ounce there. You have to have a bar there for what for your contract, to back the contract. And so people are buying silver off of that exchange, taking delivery, and they're prepared to pay to $3 to $4 higher. I feel that's a much better representation of true silver price. And I think that we're going to continue to see pricing power shift from west to east. And ultimately, that's going to be good for silver investors. The obvious sort of huge, and for good reason, the obvious big demand factor is China. They control 80% of solar panel manufacturing or more. And that's been growing by leaps and bounds. Demand for silver from solar was up 64% last year alone. Solar now represents 20% of the entire silver market. And what we've been seeing lately is some big news out of India, really. They are working on building the world's largest renewable energy park. This is in Gujarat state in India. It's going to be 5 times the size of Paris. In February alone, silver imports to India represented about 2/3 of 2023's imports, so 1 month. And now we have news that already in the first 4 months of this year, imports into India have surpassed all of last year's imports. So India, despite the sort of overall sort of smaller numbers in terms of silver demand versus China, is really quickly becoming a force to contend with. And I think that we need to start paying attention to what's going on there. If you're already in the silver space, that then I get it. If you're in the silver space and you feel you want more exposure, I get it. So, continue to watch it closely. If you want to increase your exposure, look for an opportunity. Look for days where it comes off a little bit. If it sort of scratches the $30.50 level, somewhere around there, you may want to add a little bit. If it goes below 30, I would be looking personally to add a little bit. If you have zero exposure, I wouldn't wait. I would at least decide what is the amount that I'm prepared to ultimately allocate, and I would start nibbling. I would be willing to allocate a quarter or a third of a position now, despite it feeling a little bit expensive, like you say, that run up. But there's nothing like putting a few dollars into a stock or an asset, silver, for example. There's nothing like doing that to get you to watch that position or that new placement like a hawk, and you have true involvement in it and commitment to it. And so I guarantee you're going to start watching that very closely, almost on a daily basis, to see what it's doing. And so there's a risk that, paying $31 or $32, let's say, spot price for silver right now may end up being a little bit expensive if, as I say, there's some risk that in the next weeks or months that we go to 28 or even maybe 26. But that may also not happen. But getting in now, even at these levels, as I say, that'll get you committed to watching the space. And if you do get that pullback, I feel that's a cue to layer in a second tranche, perhaps, of capital.
Hawkish remarks from Federal Reserve officials and concerns about potential rate hikes have impacted non-yielding assets like silver. How will the Fed's future policy decisions influence the silver market? Share your perspective in the comment section. If the video resonates with you, join our community by subscribing to our channel and enabling notifications with the bell icon. Thank you for being a part of our community.